I would like to now go into why, when you're working on a repetitive basis with the mundane, it can open up and where it opens up to. All right? So when you are a spiritual seeker, in the old days, the spiritual seekers would go into the cave. They would do away with all outside existence, or if they were in a convent, they'd ask to do the dishes. Many seekers, all they want to do is the dishes, or they want to scrub the floors. Because in that act contains the whole universe. Can anybody see that or have a comment on that here? Do you see how, now if you are answering the telephones for your company and you feel that when you come in that you just can't hear one more time these people and coming at you with complaints, you can also see that you are, as the grower of that banana, you are representing an energy, and when they come in, if you can be centered and send out love, which is not easy, that you affect that person and everyone around you. So in the sense that the working with the mundane is the highest spiritual level, it's easier for a person with a simple job to do it than it might be for the president of the company. All right, because the president of the company has to juggle all of these parts. However, if it is your function and your duty and your reason for being in this life is to organize a large company, then that is going to be your means to simplicity. For example, my ex-husband was the head of a financial management company, and he managed that entire company with a totally empty desk with just a pen on it, because he had a lot of Zen in his background. So everything was organized and very, very precisely, and everything had its function. So these people who go into the convents or who are raking the sand in the Zen monasteries, they're practicing themselves. And eventually what they have to do is go back into the world and take that and apply it to life. Because what we're really here for, according to some philosophies, and this is the philosophy I practice, is that all of this world is a manifestation of spirit. That we're all only one source, right? That's what we all hear in every philosophy. There's only one source. That source has manifested itself into everything that you see around here and everything throughout the universe. And the function that you know in all the literature, but we have to look at it differently today as we're moving into greater awareness, is that we need to be aware consciously in our work that we are of source and that there is a source. So if you are looking at it in this way, you are seeing that source has to come down through a lot of levels to come into the physical, and then to create the parts of the physical to be working with. So it's going from light to liquid light to subtle form to solid form. Now, in order to manifest as form, it is so complex that when Earth was first founded, it was just rock. And I happen to love working with rock, because rock is a very solid substance that holds consciousness. So if you ever think about it, if you're holding a piece of rose quartz, the quality of the rose quartz is love and compassion. Now, if you're holding a piece of hematite, the quality of the hematite is very heavy, it's protection. It has a totally different frequency. Everything on Earth evolved up from that level. So there was the rocks, the plants, the animals, and the people, the forms keep getting more and more complex. And if you just look at yourself, you are one whole, but you're actually made up of living forms that all have their own lives within you. You have a heart, you have blood, you have cells, you have a mind. Each of these are living forms that have agreed to work together as a whole with you. If they don't agree to work together, that's when you get disease or you get an anomaly. When you take this and you apply that you are mastering working with one unit here, then you see that when you're working in a company, that you are actually part of the body of the company. And your function is to perform an area very well to the best of your ability, or else the whole company as a whole does not work. Now this goes against a lot of what we do nowadays, where we have management against labor, against this person against that person. So when you're actually, as a spiritual person, are seeking to work in a company, you can be part of the work for a new way of seeing life, which is to serve as a point around which other people can see light and move into that area. So let's just take a minute and focus on your job, or part of your life that is giving you a problem, and the same to people who are looking at it, and look at this as an opportunity for you to see how you are incredibly important cog, and without your participation, the whole does not work as well. So let's just take a minute and sit and focus on that. Now while you're focusing, look at focus and see what happens when you're at your job and you're taking a very jaundiced view. You're not in a good mood. You don't see that you're connected to everyone, and you're very angry. You're upset that day. How does that affect everything that's going on around you? And now see what happens in those days when you come in and you're just feeling everything is wonderful. And everybody who comes to you, you treat with delight and with happiness. How does that affect the people around you? And now I want you to take a switch while we're in this mood, and I want you to look at your own body. And I want you to see your own body as a company. And you have your eyes, you have your stomach, you have what you like to eat, you have what you like to wear. What part of your body have you not thanked? Perhaps your stomach, for your whole life, your stomach has been digesting your food and getting nutrients throughout the entire body. Have you ever once said thank you to your stomach for doing that? Now go in and see what it feels like to actually thank your stomach, and then choose another part of the body that you may not have thanked. I can feel the energy in this whole room changing because of the gratitude that's coming forward from you. That affects everything in the energy field. Now go back to your business and choose somebody there that you maybe have groused at, or you don't like, or you have a problem with, and inwardly thank them. Look at them and see something that they are contributing that's necessary. Focus on that energy and thank them. And then why don't you look at the boss? Thank the boss. And now find a person who no one pays attention to in the office, whether it's the clerk or the person who cleans at night, someone who nobody has ever looked at and said thank you, and thank them. And then thank yourself for your part. Okay, now, how did that make you feel?
Well, honestly, I don't work right now. I'm unemployed, so I had to kind of
Remember?
shift around and remember. And
Oh, you'd like us to come back to you?
yeah.
Okay, so would somebody like to volunteer? How did it feel, well, let's say, how did it feel to thank a part of your body?
Oh, that felt wonderful.
Okay. Did you see that what could be more mundane than to have a whole functioning body and never say thank you? The only time we realize that we've had a functioning body is when we get older and things stop functioning. So rather than worrying about the time when they've stopped functioning, why don't we start thanking them right along? And you know, it's just like when we're working with people in our lives, when you're actually thanking someone, they work better. You know, the stomach will work better. First time I ever thanked my stomach, it was shocked. It was like, what? What? Somebody actually knows that I'm working and helping? If you go down there, if you go start from head to bottom and you thank your hair, you thank your eyes, you thank every part, you will be surprised at the joy that you will have in every part of your body and in how everything begins to work together. So, you know, that's one of the things that people who are in spiritual ashrams do. And that's one of the things that we can do when we're in our everyday work to make things better. How about you?
Oh, fantastic. When I thank my body, at times because I don't pay attention to the body, I sort of beat it up. So this was a very, very good refresher. A few years ago, I took particular yoga, and we would do exercises where you actually place your hands on the liver and thank the liver, on your stomach and thank the stomach. So because of everything else that comes in, you have a tendency to forget what you have learned. So this is a very, very good refresher with regard to that. And with regard to thanking the people at work, or when you have an attitude of gratitude, everything changes. Before I go to work, if I sort of use my imagination and visualize how I would like to be and how I would like people to perceive me at the office, when I get there, at times I would think it was my imagination because everybody interacts with me differently, and there's more interaction of that nature from people that I necessarily would not expect it from, and everything just flows a lot better. And then also, if there is somebody that in my own head, I have sort of conjured up some inappropriate responses saying, oh, this person is behaving this way or that way. But when I will put the effort to blessing that person and sending light to that person, my whole reaction changes towards that person, even though there might not be any interaction whatsoever. And it just makes the whole day go a lot better because then I'm not conjuring up all these fictitious events that never happen. You know, I just sort of in the present and let it go, and the way forward is much, much smoother and much calmer for me.
Exactly. You know, it's so important when we're at work, especially if you're feeling that your job is mundane. You can totally change it if you see your significance, that without you, somebody in your position, that whole company could not work. Whether it's moving the mail, whether it's answering the phone, whether it's figuring out the PR campaign, you know, whether it's figuring out the finances and crunching numbers all day, without each person in that company, that unit cannot work, just the same as your body cannot work if all the parts aren't working together.